watching all along. Okay, guys, we're going to do a short one because the hour is late. So I've got two cards. Under this light, you can't really tell that one of them is if you repeat a lie often enough, it becomes a truth. And the other is a deceased mother figure transmit messages to a woman she never met in her life. Now, she told me she never met me. And so, and I have a different feeling about this. So these two messages do not go together, and two things don't go together. And I had to make a decision. And so I thought I'd read them both. But, considering the time, we're going to keep the deceased mother figure transmitting messages to me. Storyline over here. Now, I'm not laughing at how horrific this next channeling is, okay? Because it actually, I had to think about if I did this one, how I was going to convey it to you. Because this is going to be about a business, and this is not a business as much as it is a business structure, right? I don't want to say the name. How about if we say a business structure that involves short-term rentals, but it's not a hotel, but it's not a motel. Sometimes people refer to them as hotels and motels, but they are not. It's very short term. But I'm going to clarify that this isn't like renting a room by an hour, okay? Kind of like you see in movies, or, I grew up in Los Angeles, not right in the thick of it, because it was actually quite nice, where we were, it was nice at the time. And, but on Hawthorne Boulevard, there were motels where I was told that people rented those by the hour. So I'm talking about a business structure that there are multiple business structures like this now under different names, right? The most famous one sounds like the ABCs, if you know what I mean. But this is definitely a business that is a front for something far more nefarious. And these people have gotten trapped up. So why don't we go ahead and just get it over with? All right. So you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk to an attorney before we ask any questions. You have the right to have an attorney with you during questioning. If you cannot afford, why am I saying attorney? I never say that. It's lawyer. I don't know why I'm saying that. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you before any questioning if you wish. If you decide to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you have the right to stop answering at any time. So shut up, sit down. Not you guys, these people. This is bad. Okay, so this kind of ties into what I think it could be related to that business losing money, because I kept thinking that business losing money was a hotel, but, I don't want to go too deep into this because I really want to, I want to put up my feet. But I don't want to get too far into that because I've also got this whole cybersecurity thing going on, and I have to, in a way, you know what it's like, just so that you know. And we're going to use Tarot the Modern Witch. I was going to grab the Cosmic Tarot, but after that other reading today, it's so much energy. But the way it feels like for me and for the tarot reader community now, these videos actually do go somewhere else, but, I throw them up on YouTube because I've got friends there and, that kind of thing. So I do this for fun, but I also use these videos as training tools. Okay. So just so that you know, I mean, I do, I can't get my bearings here. I was doing arts and crafts and I think that I've got paper everywhere, but, okay. So what I was going to say, for me, it's kind of like I often have to, I have a channeled message, and then I have to start, if it feels like it's disjointed at all, I know that I've got multiple channeled messages. So I have to start separating them. So, not just to train anyone else this way, but I have to, kind of like talking about, this, deceased mother figure, which kind of reminds me, I think I'm just going to, because this is different, and we'll have to save that one for its separate message right now. Okay. Because this may as well go together, because that's what I was hearing. Tell that bitch to be cool. Say, bitch, be cool. That's from Pulp Fiction, right? And you know why? Okay, so back to what's going on with this business. So I'm going to talk about the business because I want to get in and out of this one. We could still use it as a teachable piece of equipment. Okay, because that's what this is, because this is really sad. These people are going to be caught if they're not caught already, because this is a front business. I've got a front business. These are not motels, and these are not hotels. You know what I'm saying, right? Think about the initials. There we go. Because something about this business is illusionary. It is not what it appears, and I'm going to explain to you why. It's not just a front business for like what we would think prostitution and or seedy encounters with people. I live in Nevada right now, and one thing that I hate is prostitution. Prostitution is something that I loathe. You know why? It's dehumanizing. It's demoralizing when men say things like in this video that I watched for, I guess it's a particularly famous one in the state of Nevada. I don't know. I saw the video and I was so sad. Not only did it look sad, the women, like everything about it. And one woman was saying, oh, she was providing comfort and he lost his wife. And I'm like, what the fuck? Are you serious? Then let his family comfort him. He doesn't have family? Well, he actually did have family, I believe. So it's like, it makes no sense. I'm sorry. So you want to have sex with yourself then, old man. Find some companionship. You don't have to rent a prostitute because that's just encouraging prostitution. Prostitution is disgusting. It's disgusting when people say, well, I got to feed my kids. Well, then work somewhere. Go to McDonald's. Go do something. Be broke like the rest of us. Okay. But then at least you're not selling yourself in. Let's not get into that because it's disgusting. But this business, there are a couple of problems with it. All right. I'm going to do my best for, let's just say for law enforcement. Like, okay. So let's a training tool. So here we have the Emperor. Now, I'm not sure about this Emperor because we have this Seven of Cups, an illusion. Somebody's got a bunch of businesses running underneath this business. You saw that we had the Nine of Cups in reverse, a false kind of wish fulfillment. Something that doesn't satisfy, something that doesn't fulfill. Because already, the Nine of Cups in the upright sometimes has a little edge to it because it, in some of the more traditional art, you'll see a fat man kind of with full cheeks. And it reminds me of that whole, is it like in Japan, traditionally, I don't remember now if it was like if the Empress's face was not full, if she was not chubby, it's different now, I bet. But like, I don't know. I think this is, I had an Asian husband once, okay, so and I've dated a few, but my first husband. So if you weren't full in the cheeks, if you, although my first mother-in-law, she would say, don't get fat, but it, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of think about that. Like you see this kind of fat man with red cheeks. And, on at least I can picture that exactly on the Hanson Roberts Tyrone. I think, you guys know what it would have to be like Hanson Roberts because he looks very full, very whatever. So it's kind of like being oversatiated, overeating, when you're eating too much, well, then you get fat, right? There's too much fat on your body. So the Nine of Cups always reminds me of that. So that Emperor, I'm not sure what to do with this Emperor. I don't know. What am I being drawn to? We're going to try to figure out who he is or something. What's going on here? Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now. This is why I'm thinking that this ties into the cybersecurity thing, this other channeled message. And somebody else asked me, do I see faces? Can I see faces? Come here. I'm going to tell you something. Yes, I can. Okay. Depends on the situation. Sometimes I block when I already know I see, no pun intended, something or someone coming that, I already know. But I don't always get that. I don't have a switch. Somebody's heard about a vasectomy switch. What the fuck? I think I know about a concept from a million years ago. I'm sorry, but this starts to tie in again. So the cybersecurity, the investigation, the investigating firm, the investigators, the cybersecurity, the security guard, they're all aware of this or involved in this or part of this. And I don't know, that emperor, the androgyny, it's not that, people can do whatever, like I love Vogue magazine. There's, when I was a kid, there's a whole lot of androgyny with the way women looked, just because of, when you're a clothes hanger, you're a clothes hanger, people, never mind. I'll probably stick my foot in my mouth, although I don't care if I stick my foot in my mouth because, androgyny just kind of bothers me. It could be trendy, it could be whatever, but it could also be like a fucking horror flick. Okay, so we've got the 10 of Wands. Somebody's burdened right now. This could tie into the business losing money. I know that the feds are involved, Okay, so I'm going to have to, I'm hesitating saying this because it's so awful. Somebody's name is Billy. Billy or King? King, Billy, King. I think you're a king. Okay, so, because I'm going to say the word hidden camera. I'm going to say the words hidden camera because I'm going to tell you right now that I don't want to stay at any of those places because for me, and for good reason, I could tell you why. I'm not a terribly shy person about my body. I'm also not an exhibitionist. If somebody were to have filmed me, did something weird, took some private video and put it out there, I would, love to know about it because immediately I would sue somebody and it wouldn't bother me. It's not that I'm in any way ashamed of the human form. It's just that when there's a reasonable expectation of privacy, that's when you can get into, some of the, like, I think I've got a reference here. Now, this is just on, I think I do. Let me double check. Just so that you could know what I'm talking about here. Okay, hang on. Cold case, all right. Did I not have it there? Okay, so I'm going to read this, even though I didn't intend for this to come up at this time. Okay, so we're going to talk about non-consensual pornography laws. Many states have specific laws against sharing intimate images and videos without consent, which can be a gross misdemeanor or a felony on subsequent offenses. Okay, now this is something, okay, I'm not an attorney. We could talk about stuff like that another day, but I'm also just taking a moment to explain that to you because maybe this has happened to one of you. But I'm going to go back to this kind of ABC alphabet type, these situations, these short-term rentals. This is not a motel. This is not a hotel. This is not an extended stay anything. Okay. But there are multiple. If you look this up, the reason why it is never a good idea, I'm, sorry about people who invest in these, maybe they've got a little, hut behind their house and they're going to turn it into something. I get it. I understand that. And most people are honest, but then you often get the criminals, like in this case. Now, the reason why I've got that card, if you repeat a lie often enough, it becomes a truth. It's because I heard that. And so I immediately go take my notes. I turn it into what is going to be a teaching tool for one thing or another. Let's call it a coaching scenario or another. That's not exactly the way that it's being used, but for other purposes. Okay. So that was in my mind because I'm like, wow, somebody may really have convinced themselves that they just, have got this, let's call them an ABC in their garage. You know what I'm saying? And, they actually also have hidden cameras. How do you like that? How would you know? And the reason why this can be so prolific, why it is prevalent, is because most people go, they're only there for one night. Oh, hey, I'm working in the area. I need to be near that airport in Las Vegas. And, I've got to get in, I've got to get out, and I'm going to be there for 3 days. I've got a job interview. I'm going to a convention. I'm meeting with my girlfriends. I'm meeting with my guy friends. We're going to do this. We're going to do that, right? Do you see how people very easily will forget about the whole situation? And then we have the matter of the dark web. All right. To call it something, people think they're slick and trying to hide this stuff, and I'm not saying that every psychic catches everything, but we catch a lot. I got the 10 of Pentacles in reverse. There's definitely an issue with real estate that, and hey, look, if it's your garage, dude, I'm sorry. Also, we've got the 9 of Pentacles in reverse. So a project that could have appeared to be some kind of a self-sustaining. I'm hearing somebody, I can hear somebody, hang on. I make money in my sleep. I make money in my sleep. I'm making money in my sleep. We're making money in our sleep. Are ya? Okay, what else are you doing in your sleep? Okay, prostitutes are involved. I'm not saying that they're running a separate trafficking deal. But isn't that comorbid with, to call it something? To me, it's a comorbidity. Everybody is sick here. I mean, these are motherfuckers that are, I hope you get in trouble for everything, and I hope you don't get away with just a slap on the wrist. I hope you get at least, 5 to 10 years, okay? 5 to 10 years could be significant. Maybe that's as long as it's been going on. Do you see that 3 of Pentacles? Now, it's in that challenge position, but I want you to understand. Do you see what this looks like? Let's look at it together. Does that not appear voyeuristic? I'm not saying that looks like cameras, but we have a nude woman who's kind of posing now. That could seem kind of trafficky. It could seem prostitute-y. Now, I don't care if prostitution is legal in certain places. It's immoral, it's disgusting, and the people that participate in this are immoral and disgusting. And the people that provide those services have lost their way. They're immoral and disgusting. What are you going to do? Get mad at me? Because in the very least, aside, I'm sure I see cameras, okay? I'm sure I see cameras. That's one. This business is a front because it's very easy then to, let's say, have multimedia available to you to use in different ways, maybe for personal use. Don't go near any, I'm not going to say that either. Okay. But somebody could be running an escort service. Sound right? Usually results in prostitution. But where prostitution is legal, that's where it gets a little bit different, so let's keep going. What's going on with these people, these criminals? Okay, so I've got the 8 of Wands in reverse. Something that's slowing down, something that's coming back down, something that's going to go up to the cloud or went to the cloud or was intercepted in the cloud on the way back down. Do you see the clouds? I'm going to hold it up to you so that you can see that. Do you see the clouds? And doesn't that look like, if you look at that motorcycle in reverse, doesn't that look like, I don't remember. I don't usually say so much, so I'm so sorry. But here we've got that motorcycle and we've got that left wheel and that right wheel. To me, that always seems like secret recordings. It seems like this 8mm tape kind of situation. I'm old enough to remember what a lot of that kind of stuff looked like. And my uncle had a high 8, I think it was. But he, had access to that because of the kind of work that he did and things. He had a long story. Okay, that's the one. I've got his director's chair. So the 8 of Wands, he wasn't a director in the way that you would think, and I certainly shouldn't even say his name in this because it has nothing to do with this at all. Okay, so something is intercepted on the way up or the way down. Cybersecurity is significant. 6 of Pentacles, I scratch your back, you scratch mine. Cybersecurity is significant. The security guards are significant. The detectives, but I'm getting 2 sides to this detective thing. I've got detectives that are really good on my right hand. On that left hand path, with that left hand and where that Ace of Pentacles in reverse is. Can't make this up. I've got what I would call a bad detective or bad investigators or bad private investigators or bad security investigators or security experts. That's what it feels like. Okay. In the very least, even if I'm catching one of them by saying it, I know that the feds are already watching this one. I don't have inside knowledge. I just already know, because even if I had inside knowledge, I wouldn't be able to tell you because they would be watching me too. And, okay, so we'll leave it right there. But, look, even if you can catch one and draw attention to it, you do that, okay? Yeah, because it's fucking over. 10 of Swords. Again, look at the art in the Tarot of the Modern Witch. She's kind of dead there, she's not dead. A situation is just over and she's still looking at her cell phone. Sounds like a camera to me. Sounds like somebody putting pornography, you know what I mean? Because metadata is forever. My brother has taught me a lot. And once in a while we talk about different things. And I could tell you right now, they always get caught. Okay, even if it was just for your viewing pleasure and you're like, oh, well, somebody was changing over in the pool house by the pool. And, I happen to have a security camera that happened to catch this family and stuff. Did you catch a kid too? Or, Okay, we have the High Priestess in reverse. High Priestess in reverse is definitely somebody who's caught, somebody who's out in the open, somebody who is speaking, somebody who's speaking up, or because they spoke up or made themselves visible or did something, they are in the open because the secret is out. Because High Priestess, do you see that? Let's look at it together. Usually is quiet. But do you notice that in the Tarot of the Modern Witch, she has a laptop? Those thigh-high boots always make me think a certain way. Do you see between the two pillars that there's a sheet behind her? I don't know. Look like a cabana to you? Does, just looks like makeshift shit. I'm not saying that people are creating pornography, but that's always a possibility. Wouldn't you call it pornography? Even if it's somebody says revenge porn, or somebody says, well, I accidentally caught these images over here at this pool or in the pool house. I don't know why I'm getting pool house, pool boy, cabana. But, let's just say if we're talking about Nevada, it's really freaking hot in Nevada. So, we get 2 because we've got Justice that wanted to peek out here. And then we also have the King of Wands. So we've got somebody who's, big dick energy, or at least he thinks he does, probably doesn't. Pretty androgynous to me. I don't know what that is. Big dick energy speaks for itself. It doesn't have to prove anything. It doesn't have to go out of its way to convince the world. You know what I mean? You find out what kind of bonus you get when you're in the bonus section. So the King of Wands, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, somebody who's too impulsive. Now he's in the upright. Doesn't mean that he's doing that, but he definitely has his hand on his wand. That's all I want to say. We have the Knight of Swords flying forward because that means that action is coming, action that involves communication. Maybe that could mean me communicating, but it usually has communication that is geared toward that Justice card because look at where that sword is pointing. It's already known. Okay, sometimes they'll let you go far enough, long enough, because they're giving you rope, honey. Okay, so here we go. Almost. What's this news with the justice system? What's happening here to this fucking criminal, these series of criminals, these people that are, maybe cybersecurity agents? Oh, I don't know. I got the Fool. Okay, so obviously law enforcement is involved. Law enforcement, to me, like I said, to me, that's a black and white. When I was a kid, they were black and white. It makes sense. And the Fool over here. Because somebody was reckless, because somebody did something foolish, because, people are fucking perverts. What do you want me to say? And then people are greedy for money. We've got the Seven of Pentacles reverse, because this is something that literally was going underground. If you think about it, these plants could be growing underground. This is something that didn't grow. It didn't grow the right direction. All right. Earlier I was getting a lot of different messages about this, but I can't channel every message and every channeling into what I get. There we go. Did you see how that flew out? There we have the King of Swords. That could be an Aries, Leo, I said Aries or Leo. I'm sure that that's a fire sign. This guy's fucking busted. The guy with his hand on his whatever. I hope you enjoy servicing yourself. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not, and that's a really big wand. I mean, nobody can hate that. Sorry. Size does matter. So does the size of your crime. Okay, so the King of Swords over here with that, that looks like blood on the ground. This is, woo, bad news. Somebody's going to be upset. So the King of Swords, could be an air sign, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, and this would be somebody in the upright. This is in that suit giving me the boss vibe. This is a man. This man is law enforcement. This man's probably a Fed. Okay. Wouldn't you think? Or somebody really high ranking. Now, unless you got friends out there and you don't get away. Most cops are smart enough to not just trust other cops or other people in law enforcement. Like, yeah, this is cool. Everything's fine. There's nothing to see here. It doesn't work like that anymore because people don't want to go to prison. And more people are being, made examples of. And if you see something and don't say something, it's like any other mandated reporter, right? So now we've got the Eight of Pentacles. That's tipping down this way. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. People don't want to work together with us. Maybe, maybe people are retiring from those different types of forces. Or I feel like somebody's just moving out of, reach for somebody to be able to reach them for help. You don't want to be implicated in anything like this, strange cameras and strange activities with strange people, because it's easy and people are hyperactive. Three of Swords in reverse. Obviously something very uncomfortable. Maybe, let's see, do we have anything that would indicate any kind of video? Yeah. I don't know. Maybe this has already happened. It's already come full circle. Somebody's in prison, or they don't want to go to prison, or they're just in the prison of their mind with the Three of Swords. It could be that this person has already been caught. I can't say that I know the timeline when it happens, but I don't go so overbroad and say that, well, this could have happened in the past. It could have happened in the present. It could happen in the future, because, that sounds like I'm just really spreading it thin. This has to be recent. Maybe this is a recent release. Anything indicating why this looks like a recent release? Whoops. Oh, got a cramp in my hand. Okay. Is this a recent release? The moon. There's more to come. More is coming to light. And curiously, look at that. That moon looks like two naked ladies who think that they're having a private time in the moon by the water, which could be a lake, could be a pool. Do you see that there's something creepy coming out of the water? What does that tell you, hon? They're not alone. Somebody has been watching them. All right. I'm going to probably get pretty insulting here. Okay, because we're at 27 minutes and I should stop now here. Anything else? Yeah. Oh, damn. Okay, so it's not over yet. Now, the world card also indicates the internet, the World Wide Web as we know it. Okay, so the world card in reverse means a cycle is incomplete. There's more to come. Somebody could be a Scorpio, somebody could be Aquarius, somebody could be a Leo, somebody could be a Taurus. All right, well, let's see if we could, this might go funny. I don't know. I can already see that something here is going to be fun. All right. So we're going to get a few not definitions. Let's get a few descriptors. Tell us a little bit about this idiot or groups of idiots, or it's like, what is it with the cybersecurity part? Are you serious? Okay, so we have a father. A sister could be involved. This is like a business. I don't know. I got a rapper down here. I don't know what to do. Okay. We'll keep the wrapper. Okay. And I'm just going to kind of let them populate themselves. This isn't working very well. Let's try shuffling them. All right, here we go. Holy Spirit, Holy Angels, just tell us something about this father who has a sister. This could be a family business. Gosh, these don't want to... I'm going to have to lick my finger, sorry. Okay. Because these cards are... Okay. I say okay. I'm sorry. Don't be alarmed. I pass all my psych evals, so okay. All right, let's see. Okay, somebody's got short arms. What are you, like a T-Rex or something? Okay. This is really hard. Okay, so we have a wanderer, somebody who wanders, somebody travels, somebody's a nomad, somebody's a seeker. Okay, there's one. A man who dyes his hair. A man with plastic surgery. Does the rapper have big muscles? Hang on. Now, this, of course, this could fit into your life, or you could just be entertained. I got a scary old man and his wife. Okay. Somebody's going to have to go to Gilligan's Isle. Okay. Come on, man. They're not like tarot cards, so it's not like they're going to, I want them to pop out. Oh, okay, good. Okay. So, oh, no way. Did you see that? I'm going to have to go get it. Okay. Hang on, you guys. I got to go down here with Cat. Okay. This person has a dog and a cat. Somebody involved here has a drug addiction. And somebody has a finger tattoo. A tattoo on the finger. Now, this part, these oracles may just give you certain clues, or they could give you some confirmations. Maybe somebody with the... Look, I told you guys before, I don't have tattoos. So if I'm saying it wrong, maybe it's not called a finger tattoo and it's called some kind of digital... Hella digit art, okay? Wait, okay? Let's see. Oh my gosh, that's just too funny to me. But I mean, I think for you guys, especially if you're learning about these things. Okay. All right, we're going to try a little bit more. We're just going to get a couple out of here. Whoops, too many. We'll take that one. Winco Foods. Somebody works at Winco Foods. Come on. Oh, that one did. What's this? Someone needs to see a psychologist. I think we're going to end it right there, because I doubt anybody involved in a business like this is going to have any sense to go see a psychologist and get some help, because, it doesn't mean that they're significantly mentally ill, but how healthy are you if you have one of these? The Better Business Bureau is BBB. Okay. So, and it's not the Better Business Bureau. Obviously, they're not any kind of hotel-like stay. But I am going to tell you this, you guys. If you ever have to stay somewhere, I would suggest never, ever stay at one of these short-term places. There's a lot of different reasons why. Because, you really can't control what's going on in there. And like you could say, well, they could do that in a hotel room. Yeah. But I'm going to tell you right now that the Hilton is probably not the place where you're going to encounter a camera that is conveniently hidden in the bathroom near the toilet roll paper dispenser. Okay. People think that they're looking just in the jacks and the outlets and places like that, but they have been so creative now because they can be so very teeny tiny. I can plant a camera in a location, and unless you're trained professional, you probably aren't going to find it. And because they don't have to be wired into the walls or anything, this is super simple. And those little handheld detectors, I've used them before to see if I can detect differences. They get a lot of interference because of cell phones, and we carry 14 devices everywhere we go. So remember that, because they can be deployed remotely. Somebody's been deployed. Somebody is deployed. I don't know. Please, I hope you're deployed, because then that means that you're not in this mess. But my suggestion is that you don't do that. I would suggest that you stay at a nice big chain hotel as much as possible, as often as possible. I don't care if it's in Vegas or anywhere else you're going. But bear in mind that when you do that, You're taking, if somebody writes me and says, I've got one of these B type, businesses, or the I'm not going to say the words, but you know what I'm saying. And I resent that you say that. Well, then good on you. I'm glad that you're not a criminal, but how do I know that? How do I know you wouldn't do that? Because look, I guess we could say suspect him the most that trust the least, but it's always the ones that you least expect. We'll leave it right here. Take care, you guys. I love you. God bless. Don't stay at those places.